Ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages,
PX proudly presents the tag team champions of the world,
hell yeah.
the badass Billy Gunn. Right?
Road Dogg, Jesse J.
Yeah.
Welcome to the third episode of the Running the Ropes podcast. I am your host, Rabbit. We got your co-host, Iceberg. Should have went that way. I forgot to mirror my image.
Wrong way.
It's all good.
I'm gonna mirror my image. And on the other side, we got your other host, JT Stark. How y'all
It's your
doing
boy,
today, boys?
JT Stark. Let's go.
Doing great. Ready to dive into this industry, man. It's big right now. It's on the upswing.
It's huge. It's huge.
It's huge.
Hey yo.
Ayo. That's what she said. No.
Yeet.
Yeet. All right. First topic of the day, boys. It's not glamorous, but it does need to be talked about. It does need to be said. What are we thinking about Raquel Rodriguez? Iceberg, hit it off.
Oh yeah. So I mean, I dig it, man. I feel like it was the perfect transition to bring her in. I think she's the only one that could match up against Rhea. You know, she's huge. She's got a big body. They brought her in pretty well again. I know it's the return of her. You know, her mic skills and all that might be, you know, I still got to see a little more of that. I'm not saying it's bad, but I got to see a little more of that. And, but yeah, I think body-wise, look-wise, I mean, that's the menace that Rhea needs. That's the opponent that Rhea needs, man. Because Rhea realistically should dominate Liv, you know, and she does. And so I think this girl Raquel comes in there and gives her a run for her money.
Yeah. JT, what do you think?
I think it's good because, in my opinion, Rhea needs like a better matchup because, you know, like the size difference between her and Liv, and that's not really, you know, too realistic. Like, you know, like if Liv like is keep beating her, like she needs other people to like go up against, especially someone that's like, you know, like around like the same size and shit like that. So I think like the way they brought her in, I think it's definitely good. I see her and Liv maybe being like the female version of like, you know, Shawn Michaels and Diesel or something like that. Dude, you know, that's what I think.
Okay. So I do agree with you guys' takes. I think it was a good idea to bring her in. However, I'm not sold. First off, I could forgive the bad blood botch with the timing because that's kind of like a production thing too. There's a lot of moving parts with the wrestlers, whatever. But you know, the few matches I've seen her in since, she's not really selling me on it. She's had a couple more botches. She's slow. She's sluggish. Now we've seen her before, and we knew this already. But you know, and I know she got injured, so she hadn't, you know, she got robbed of that time that she was supposed to develop. But she did nonetheless. She didn't develop more in that last year that she's been gone since Chamber. And I just think throwing her into the world title picture like that is kind of a risk.
Hey, what was the botch that she did? I can't remember in the pay-per-view.
At Bad Blood.
Yeah.
So she came out at the wrong timing. So she was supposed to hit Rhea and throw Liv on top of her for the pin, but the timing was off. So the ref seen it and still DQ'd her.
Yeah, like she took Liz off, right? Like she put her on and then took her off. I did that. That was weird. I do remember that.
She was supposed to put her on for the pin.
But man, you know, this girl's 6 foot tall. I mean, dude, she's fucking huge. So I can almost forgive her for the little, the awkwardness she's got, a little, she's a big girl, man, but I do understand what you're saying, though. I mean, it does, of course, she needs to clean it up a little bit for sure.
She needs to clean it up if
But
she's going to stay in that
WWE,
picture.
but WWE does this, right? Because they like to throw in people with not that much experience, but that got the look. You know what I mean? And they like fucking pushing these big, larger than life characters. So it's not a shocker to me that they would throw this girl in there.
I've just never been a fan of that strategy in my book.
Sure.
Yeah, unfortunately, with pro wrestling in general, botches happen. Like even if you're like the best wrestler in the world, you're gonna make mistakes from time to time. Especially she just came back too, so I guess it's a little bit forgivable. Like I don't think it's gonna be remembered for like a long time or anything like that. It was a botch for sure, but I don't think it's going to continue to happen or anything like that.
Yeah. So, yeah, obviously, yeah, botches happen. I don't really tend to fret on those. But my thing is, after that initial bad blood botch in those matches I seen on the weekly programming, she's moving real sluggish. Her moves are sluggish. She kind of giving me that Nia Jax vibe. Same complaint I have with Nia Jax, where her just everything's like real sluggish. And like you said, we could chalk it up for the first few weeks to like ring rust, being out for so long. But I don't know about that because I didn't see her lose that before she left yet. So it might not be ring rust. It might just be she's not at that level yet. Time will tell. But if you're going to keep her in the main event scene and you're going to push her against Rhea, which is what they were trying to do even before she got injured, she definitely needs to get it together because you can't put somebody like that in the main event because then we get instances like Omos, right, or Braun Strowman, where they got a role, but to be in that world, that main event picture, and that main event match got to be 4 or 5 stars every night in my book, or you ain't doing it right. You got too much talent out there.
I wouldn't say 4 to 5. I would say 3 to 4 at least.
Well,
because not every...
my star rating isn't the same as Meltzer's. Okay, my 4 or 5 star would be his like 3 or 2. Because I'm not saying it has to be a legendary fucking PLE.
I would wonder what your 6-star or 7-star in the Tokyo Dome
but like
would be.
at for a weekly show rating, a 5-star.
Meltzer
should be,
sucks. Meltzer sucks at rating.
But you know what I'm saying? Like you should be shooting for your main event of every show.
Ain't no way Will Ospreay has more star ratings than like CM Punk, Seth Rollins, like all these big guys, all combined. I mean, don't get me wrong, I like Will Ospreay, but he's not the best wrestler of all time.
Yeah.
He has a good moveset, I'll say that, but he's not, in my opinion, putting up 5 stars every night.
Yeah. I mean, look, the thing is, you want to shoot for the best rating for your main event, even if the rest of your card has to be, due to injuries or time or travel or just story setups. Even if the rest of your card has to be like kind of fillerish or let's see how we mix it up. The fact of the matter is that you have to have the goal to make your main event of every card be the best that you can have it. And if she can't cut it, we have way too much talent on this roster. You get what I'm saying? So if she can't cut that, then you got to get her out of there.
To me, the weekly shows, when you get into the main events, they're usually not that good. They're usually just to tell the story, push the story along, maybe tease the action. Now, don't get me wrong. I do like how WWE has been putting on some major, title defenses on the Raw and SmackDown. I like those, but
some major their weekly programs, and we're going to get into that, have been very good recently. But I get what you're saying. Normally, the expectation is they're not going to be right. But I feel like at this point for them, they have to be because they're in an upswing.
It's a big storyline. I mean, and I don't know if this is going to get off topic here, but the Tiffy time, her getting tagged up with Rhea to fight these two, you can almost see the transition here. I think the Money in the Bank might get cashed out on Liv,
Yeah,
if I'm
so
not
that
mistaken.
yeah,
You
so
know,
like you're saying, that's our next topic actually. Yeah, when is Tiffy time? And like you're saying, Kelly, it looks like they're gonna bring it instead of her cash on Nia, they're gonna cash it on Liv. So you got this big build up with Tiffy time, which she's capable of taking on Rhea too. She's big herself. Um, so you got her in the mix. And then, like you said, this is a big storyline anyway because it's coming off of that Judgment Day story. So that's a big
yeah,
story and so a big player. So it's just you don't want to spend 2 years building up a Judgment Day story to fizzle it out due to someone who wasn't even a part of it. You're bringing in. That could be a bad play. Could be a bad play. She could do just fine, and she could become a star from it. Because that's also how you make stars too, right? But I
yeah.
just seen a lot of sluggishness from her, in my opinion. And with them being in such an upswing right now, coming from such a low, in my opinion, they need to be very careful when they with making bad decisions and destroying one of the two top storylines of the past 3 years. That.
It is a transition. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Tiffy time, is she ready to even carry that top? And is Raquel, is she ready to go with a grudge match with Rhea and put on a top tier show
Right.
and kind of possibly kill the momentum of Liv and Rhea? I mean, and then but then I guess on the other hand, you know, when is that story going to fizzle out? Like when going to end that? Is it going to go? Can it go for another year? You know what I mean, or another, to WrestleMania? Who knows? So
And, and honestly, now that I'm thinking about it, I guess that's kind of the point of putting Tiffy time on that as well. Is what if Raquel doesn't sell it good enough? Well, then we pivot.
yeah,
We put her as a backseat driver, and really, it's Tiffy time.
because she's going to
So
have to cash that Money in the Bank,
she's gonna have to.
and that's
It's
going to
almost
have to.
Money in the Bank again.
Right. And so I'm thinking in my head, like, hey, what better than another Rhea and Liv? Raquel come in, whatever,
Oh,
whatever,
you know
whatever.
what? No, it's not. I forgot. I'm still thinking it's not almost Money in the Bank. She's got some time.
She does got time because it just happened, right?
Yeah, it
It
just
wasn't that
happened.
long ago. Yeah,
Dude,
Yeah, but
I
my
get
thing
you.
is that she has that little friendship with Nia Jax. I feel like that's gonna turn into a cash in right there, like
well,
at some point, and then they're gonna end up
That's a good
feuding.
point.
you know, I don't know though. I think they're using that as like kind of like a throw off, to be
Yeah,
honest, because I think I think they're gonna go use it like, or maybe this is the throw off. Maybe they're like Nia's like go cash in on her. Let's have both, but really she's just so hell bent on like no. I
Because
think I
she's
could
teased in
like
the cash in a few times. So
yeah.
I don't see her cashing in on the Raw title. I see her whether it's Nia Jax or like maybe Nia loses and then she cashes in on, like Bailey or like whoever. I don't see her getting involved in any of like, the Raw drama. I think it's gonna, stay with like the SmackDown title. I think whether it's Nia Jax or she loses it, I think eventually it's going to set up a feud with her and Nia Jax, with maybe her being the baby face, or I don't know how that's going to work if she does feud against Nia Jax, but I feel like it's going to be on the SmackDown title.
that's a good
So
point.
I actually kind of agree because I feel like as I was saying, I think that where Tiffy is like, oh, we'll go take the easier title, but at the same time, she just can't. She's like, no, I want to take the bigger target out. I want to be. I don't want to take the easy road. I don't want to take the route that Nia's telling me to take. I want to take I want to take the top challenge. But the only problem is, okay, so you take it from Nia, right? Well, you get into a feud with Nia. Can Tiffany hold a feud with Nia?
I don't know, man. I think
Good.
I think they could make a match out of it because they were friends and they turn on each other and it might be a good story. But I think Nia wins every time unless Tiffy does like if she uses her brain, and foreign object, whatever, she cheats somehow. I would say that even though Nia is the heel, I think they're both heels, right?
They're both heels.
They're
Yeah,
both heels. So one of them would have to turn face. And if I
I
said,
think it would be Tiffany Stratton. I think she'd be the one to turn face because they've tried Nia as a face and it just didn't work. And also, my thing is if they do get into the feud, Tiffany is still like like kind of green. She's not like too green at this point, but like Nia hasn't always been the greatest worker with especially with someone who's green. Nia works decent, I guess, with people who are good workers like Bailey and stuff like that. But I don't think she'd hold a good match against Tiffany Stratton. That's my thing about that.
And let me tell you something. I didn't like that match between Nia and Bailey at Bad Blood at all. I'm not gonna lie.
no, that was trash.
But I'm gonna be honest. I used to be one of the biggest Nia haters, but she's kind of grown on me a little bit. Like at least like as a character, maybe not as much in the ring. I mean, she hasn't, as far as I know, hurt anyone in the ring lately. So I guess that's a good sign. But I've kind of been like liking her character a little bit, at least like a lot better than like her first run and stuff like that.
Yeah. So I have similar feelings on that. I definitely I like her a lot more now, and since she's returned, her character, her in ring work, her mic skills, um, but her matches have still not been impressive, to
So,
say the least.
but what do you think the fans would turn on? Like, who do you think is the fans hate more, Naya or Tiffy?
Definitely Nia.
A hundred,
Uh,
100% I am.
Tiffany, a lot of people actually like Tiffany, so she's a heel, but she still does get some cheers though, and like people like like the Tiffy time gimmick. Like
Hmm.
uh, I could see her being a baby face if booked correctly. I could see her being a baby face. Maybe not right now because there needs to be more heels, but I could see her being a baby face if she has the right feud.
So, the question is, can she successfully pull off a babyface character the way she has the Tiffy time heel character? Will she still have the same backing by the fans, or will she fall lackluster?
I feel like with her gimmick, I think that could be tweaked a little bit to be pretty much the same gimmick, but as a baby face. Like if that makes any sense. So like hers, she's not like too much of a heel, but I feel like uh with her move set and everything, she could be a baby face. Like I think, you know,
Do you see her as like an
like
anti-hero or something, or like she
I
just
could
plays
see that too. Like
like
anti-hero
like she
or
keeps the same gimmick, but she just maybe does a run in or protects something? The classic baby turn.
yeah, like Stone Cold in the '90s, or like CM Punk in 2011. Like they did like heel stuff, but like they're getting all these cheers and stuff like that.
So to me, Tiffany's thing though is she does a lot of almost Chelsea Green esque type things where she's a lot, she's an airhead. She whines a lot. She cheats a lot. She does all these very heel esque things, and that's kind of what's gotten her over. But those won't fly as a heel. You
See,
get what I'm
I
saying?
think I think the opposite, man. I think they could turn Naya uh, uh, baby, bro. Because of what you just said, Jack. I don't see Tiffany turning an airhead one day and then she's actually got a thought process to next. You know, I mean, maybe, but her character's too dumb blondish, you know, and that's the way they got her going.
Yeah, but my thing about Nia is like I said, they tried her as a baby face. In my opinion, she just doesn't work. She's like, that monster heel. Like I don't see her, like being all smiles and giggles. Like that
Yeah,
just
but
does not, fit her personality. Like I
yeah, but
don't see her getting like those cheers.
they did the same thing though with Roman. And now
I,
look at Roman. Roman,
that's where I was going with
yeah,
it.
and
Yep.
look at Roman. Roman's a baby right now, man. He's a
Yeah,
face,
he's a good baby right now,
True.
and he
and
was
nobody.
terrible before.
Yeah, terrible. So and then Nia being a part of that. If I'm not mistaken, she's kind of part of that like Samoan family, right? Like she's in
Uh
that
huh.
tree. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
so they're gonna give it to her. I could
And
see that. I could see because only because Tiffy is just too young in the game right now, and
yeah,
she's a good
because
heel.
it's the same as like you said. You don't see Nia being able to display face characteristics, whereas I don't see Tiffany being able to display face characteristics. But obviously, at least amongst us, it's kind of like a well, let's see how it goes type thing. So,
Yeah, more like a wait and see how the
and
see what
I
see
mean,
what
it's
Triple H is cooking up in the
yeah, with
kitchen
the
and
cooking. I
shit
mean, it's
like
kind of
that. Like,
interesting, having all these characters we've talked about so far being like, oh, I don't know what's gonna happen. One way or the other, if both options seem like, oh, they could not work or they could be genius. That's kind of like
Hey,
it's
I tell you what.
intriguing that we're on
Hey,
the edge about it.
you're right. Listen, I'll give you one, man. Over under. Okay, over under. Uh, the next 3 months. Actually, I just go ahead and say over under before WrestleMania. Liv and Dom break up, and
and Dom finds a new bitch.
Raquel turns on Liv at some point before WrestleMania.
Yeah, and then Dom takes her. Like he leaves Liv for Raquel.
No, well,
What if
Carlito and
Raquel
Raquel.
turns on Liv, but she's actually dating Rhea?
Whoa,
I saw someone say something like that. Like, not gonna lie, I seen like something in one of like the groups, like
that's
someone say
something.
something about like if they do a swerve where Liv and like Raquel or something like that, or like end up being a thing, or like something
That's gonna
like
have to be on
I don't know.
Netflix. That's when Netflix. That's when
That's gonna
Netflix
take
hits.
Netflix and chill to a new level.
That's the only time you're
Oh
gonna see
man.
some lesbian love with that. I want to see that when Netflix comes, where there's no restrictions. That's when I'll see them date.
Oh man, that's crazy. Okay, speaking of dominating, characters. Let's transition on to some men, non homosexual, like
Yeah, what are you saying, man? Yeah, what's going on? You
Let's
lost me after a second. I was like, wait, huh?
Yeah,
Trying to
we
say,
always
wow.
like he was
You're
like,
like,
you know
whoa.
what? Let's transition into
Like,
the
speaking
men.
of
I'm like,
dominant
whoa,
men,
whoa, whoa.
Yeah,
This ain't
no,
that kind of podcast. This is like,
no.
speaking of dominant men, look at these strapping young men right
Look
here.
at these nuts. No, I'm scared.
is Vince writing this podcast now?
Nah. So we're talking about the War Raiders, okay?
War Raiders,
So
the
the
Vikings.
the Viking Raiders came back. Um, but Eric was injured for a while. Valhalla's out pregnant now. They were the War Raiders in NXT. They were the Viking Experience for like one show before the fans demanded a change, and they changed them
The
to the
worst name for a
Viking.
tag team
Swear to
ever.
God, to the Viking Raiders,
What
and then
kind
they
of
were that for a
crack
while.
was Vince on that night?
I don't, dude. I'll tell you what crack
You
he
know
was
what?
on.
The
The crack he
Viking
had Janelle. No,
experience.
I'm just kidding. Oh my God.
Sick.
Sounds like a weird ass
Too far,
roller
too
coaster
far, too
ride or
far.
something like that.
He was, um, would that be insensitive? Probably. Fuck it.
I didn't even hear what she said.
I said Vince was on Janelle's crack.
Oh shit! No, that's hilarious.
Oh my God. All right, so the War Raiders, I repackage. I know Kelly, you didn't know much about them.
I
They
watched a
were,
little bit of it.
they were,
Listen, I watched their return, and I'm going to tell you right now, no pop.
yeah. So they were huge in NXT. They ever since they hit the main scene though, they kind of flatlined. And I guess this is Triple H's attempt to do that to revive them. Now he's done this before. Okay, AOP and Karrion Cross, right? DIY. He's trying to bring back his success stories. Um, the question is, can it work? Now it seems to be working with DIY finally. We still haven't seen much from the Final Testament and AOP, but in my opinion, this is a good answer to that. The War Raiders and AOP kind of, they're both big boys that move fast. They could do something there, don't you think?
Yeah. I mean, listen, my thing is with them is I noticed that when they came up, there wasn't a big fan reaction, but there was a big online action, right?
Mm-hmm.
Reaction to it. Um, and from what I know, one of them trained a lot of WWE stars that are in the business right now. He was actually a trainer, so he's well. These guys are well respected, and I think it's good for the tag team division. I like, I feel like they need more of these gimmick tag teams,
Mm-hmm.
or just not even. I wouldn't say gimmick, but like same gimmick.
Branded. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
branded tag teams. It brings a
Not
little
just
nostalgia.
these like makeshift tag teams and shit like that.
Right.
Like we need more like actual like they're one like kind of tag team. Like
Mm-hmm.
like how the Hardys were back in the day,
Right.
or like the
Like a unit.
Dudleys, like like same gimmick, same like a gimmick tag team,
Mm-hmm.
not just like two really good wrestlers put together. Like we need like more like
Yeah,
gimmick tag
yeah,
team.
yeah.
Yeah,
Steiner brothers, Harlem
if
Heat.
I see these two guys, I know they're a tag team.
Yeah,
And the thing is, you were saying there was a lot of online reaction, and I'm gonna tell you why you didn't see the pop in the stadium, but you seen online reaction, and that's because a lot of the black and gold era NXT fans are now AEW fans.
makes sense.
So that's why you'll see it online reaction.
Gotcha.
But that's could be a good thing. You could, this is doing
Hey,
things like this could be taking fans back.
a couple of good matches and they're sold. You know what I mean? A couple of good storyline and they're in. They're in like Flint. So yeah, I think real wrestling fans know them. You feel me? So at least have that. And Triple H should give him a chance, like you said, and because him and Sean are boys over there with NXT and all that. And
And I'm gonna bring it down to another tag team that didn't really get a great pop coming out, but online and amongst the back, the wrestlers themselves, their reveredness. We're talking about the debut of the Motor City Machine Guns. Um, what do you think about that, JT?
Me personally, they're I would say they're a legendary tag team and like TNA and stuff like that. But I feel like if it was like 10, 15 years ago, I think it would be really huge. But right now, like I don't know, it's kind of too early to tell. They're both like older now. They're not in their prime. It could work, but longevity wise, like how long are they gonna last? How long are like like fans gonna get behind them? Like I don't know. Like me right now, I'm not too sold because they just debuted it, but I don't know. Like I said, they're older now. Like we'll have to see how they
Yeah,
do. Like you could have said the same thing about like AJ Styles and stuff like that when he
he got the
finally
same
came to
reaction
WWE.
and same opinion as I'm hearing and seeing with them. So and now he's one of their biggest stars. And the thing about them that I like is, and a lot of people thought they were going to NXT because of their veteran skills and they were going to help build tag teams, but I think they're in SmackDown for the same exact reason. Look how many teams are on SmackDown. We got like 10 tag teams now that are active on weekly shows. And now you got this team coming in and they're putting high pace and they're showing these guys in the ring and they're motivating them and they're putting a fire under their ass and so they're I think them being here is going to be really good. And honestly, I think they're going to win those straps ASAP. I think they're going to win the straps so they face all these teams and get them really fired up and going in the ring and kind of push them on the spot and get these teams juiced up and get people interested in them and then drop them to somebody. And then, I think they're in SmackDown for a reason right now. These SmackDown titles, they're the better looking titles. They got the better tag teams right now. Um, I think that's a big, thing for them. Just like the War Raiders, like you said, they have the experience. They just need the right thing. I think Mondays, Raw is kind of pushing the same avenue but they're not there yet. I think SmackDown has more than enough tag teams right now to really make a tag division hot. And Motor City Machine Guns, in my opinion, that's where they need to be. They don't need to build new tag teams. They need to be in there with the tag teams, leading the charge, in the ring with them, telling them, do this, do that, do this, do that, fire up, slow down, work the crowd, boo woo. They need that coach in the ring with them, controlling those matches and getting all those teams over and active. In my opinion, what you think about
Yeah,
that,
and then
Iceberg?
adding, more experienced tag teams only gonna help the brand too.
Right?
Because in my opinion, tag team wrestling is just as important as like the main event scene and all that. Like you could put a really good match for with tag teams because you can do more with like the wrestlers, like the tag
Yeah,
team moves, the storytelling.
yeah,
You could do so much with tag team wrestling. And the thing about Vince, when he was in charge, he hated tag team wrestling. And then you seen how Triple H was when he ran NXT. He was putting on bangers and bangers and bangers for
yeah,
like tag teams when he had, the
yeah.
DIYs, the AOPs, like
War
those
Raiders.
teams.
Yeah,
Yep,
it's
the
more.
War Raiders.
It's more of the look over here. We're over here. We're over here. Look over here. It's more of a shell game with the tag team, so you can do more with
Yeah,
less. So what you
yeah.
think about that, Iceberg?
No, yeah, I think tag teams, it completes, the show. I mean, you gotta have good tag teams. It's been a long time since I was invested emotionally into a tag team. You know, like
Yeah.
it's just been a long time. Even, I'm not gonna lie to you, I kind of missed the boat on the Usos and all that. I didn't really see their run. I mean, I seen it, but again, it's just been a long time since I've been emotionally invested in a tag team. And a lot of that has to do with even when you have good tag teams, I feel like it says I know eventually they're gonna break up pretty fast and go their solos.
Yeah.
So it's hard for me to invest in a good tag team. But when you start getting these gimmick tag teams in there, like we were talking about earlier, I feel like then now it's more like, oh, they're only together,
Right.
and so every story revolves around them, and I feel like there's more storyline options to have, with a
Yeah.
good
Yeah,
tag team.
that's the thing about tag teams is like a good majority of the time, I'm kind of getting tired of this. Like they eventually break up, or one turns on another, or they go their separate ways. Like
Hmm.
when was the last time you seen like a tag team, like pure tag team wrestlers that never broke up or didn't go their separate ways? That's always happened. Like Matt and
Yeah.
Jeff, that happened with them.
And
The Dudleys, they went their separate ways. Like,
so you see a lot of people lately. In the last year, they've been talking about, oh, put Montez Ford into a singles role, and now, don't get me wrong. I think he'd do a lot better than Carmelo um um what's the other guy? Uh, doesn't matter. I think Montez Ford has the potential to be a single star, but I don't want to destroy the Street Profits. The Street Profits are a good tag team, you know.
Yeah.
So I'm not really with that shit.
And I think it's the eventual outcome of a tag team for that one of them too. Because don't get me wrong, every tag team has one guy is clearly the better one out of the two, and sometimes it gets to the point to where maybe you're just holding that other person back. But man, that comes like way down the line though.
Yeah, man. 10, 11 years. Not like we're not talking like, bro, if you guys only been in tag team 4 years, stay a tag team. Like, in my opinion. Yeah. But so real quick, because we almost touched on a topic I want to touch on later because it has more, and I don't want to veer too far off. Let's switch topics. So a lot of people have been talking about the possibility of the return of Bad News Barrett, and I gotta edit that. And this to me is another one where I'm like, I don't want to ruin a good thing. So Bad News Barrett, that's Wade Barrett. And right now he's commentating. And now the thing is, if we get a return, it could be cool. It could be cool. Don't get me wrong with him and Gunther, or him and Sheamus. And I always wanted Wade to have a better career than he was given. I was a fan of Wade. But to me at this point, I almost like him better as a commentator. And if he returns, that kind of goes away. So personally, I'm kind of torn, but I'm swaying more towards I don't want to see a return of Bad News Barrett because the return at this point is just not going to be enough to lose my investment in him as a commentator. What do you think about that, Iceberg?
Yeah, I think if anything's done right, it could be done. It could work if it's done right. But you got to ask yourself, if he does get in there, where does he fit? I mean,
right?
They could barely get have as many superstars as they have. They could barely fit in any. They got 5 or 6 main event cards on each pay-per-view, and it's because they just have this abundance of talent. And so yeah, don't get me wrong, he's great. I like him on the mic. And I'd rather have him come like in and out, maybe like as a little, if he wants to interfere a little bit or he wants to go out there and bounce around a little bit, sure, But where would he fit? To me, it's just, he might have a couple of good matches and then what? So I don't know. I'm not against it, I guess. But
what you think, JT?
Me personally, yeah, I agree with you on that. I do love him on commentary. I don't think he should return as a wrestler, like full time. I could see him doing like a one off feud, or even do something like they did with Nigel McGuinness and AEW, like have like a one off match or something like that. So I could see him like like doing like a one time feud, maybe put like Gunther over a little bit, like do something like that, but not return as like an actual full time wrestler. I'd be okay with like a one time feud, or even just like a one time match or something like that.
But after that, the problem is, can you see him returning to commentary? Because then who replaces him? I mean, I guess you could expand Cole and Graves, but like, I don't know. It's just like, is it even worth disrupting that flow? Because then would you see him returning to commentary fluidly, or would that be an issue?
You could just commentate while he wrestles.
Like just jump off the booth.
Yeah, like every time,
I
like
gotta go wrestle this match real quick. Hold on.
Kind of like with JR when the Royal Rumble would hit, and all of a sudden his music would play. He's been commenting the whole time, and he'd say, "Oh, hold on, guys!" And he jumps in there. He gets knocked out one time, and then he gets, then he needs 2 seconds. Goes back to the table. He's like, "Man, I almost had it." Like, No, yeah, like that's what I'm saying. Is I'm not totally against it, but I just don't see where it would fit. A one-off for sure. You know,
Maybe
he had
like you said, like if he does come off the booth and he's in his suit and he just does some interference or some,
yeah,
type ruckus thing, and then has like one match
yeah,
and stays commentating, almost like Michael Cole when he had his WrestleMania match. He was kind of just getting overly involved. Had one match, got his ass fucking handed to him,
yeah,
and
yeah,
went back.
and you never know, man. I mean, Barrett fucking goes in there and tears the house down. Then shit, maybe there's a spot for him. You know,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but like I said, anything done right could work, but it just depends on how they do it.
So speaking of things done right or wrong, we're gonna move on to the weekly wows and woes. And what I mean by this is the weekly programming. There's been a lot of changes in production, in booking, in every aspect. So pretty much, I want to just touch down on all those little things in one quick segment. I want you guys to tell me things you've noticed that you like and things you've noticed that you don't like based on the weekly programming. Let's go with JTA first on this. What?
So, can you ask that one more time? So, what I'm liking about the
Yeah, so weekly
weekly
programming,
programming?
SmackDown and Raw. What of all the little changes in booking and production and whatnot have you enjoyed, and what do you think should not have changed or continue to change?
Um, I'm trying to think of specifics here. Can't
Because
think at the top of my head.
personally, I like the fact that we're getting better video packages and entrances. I've seen changes to like Solo's colors or like the Motor City Machine Guns and AJ Styles. You see TNA footage. We're
Oh,
getting better. They're getting rid of Def Rebel, um, things like that. I like those video packages. I like the new SmackDown logos. Uh, I
right.
actually
Yeah,
like
it
that a
does
lot.
kind of go hard.
It does go hard, right? And then I like how the what was I gonna say? Oh,
What about?
the cameras, the camera angles in the backstage segments have been, in my opinion, much better. I like how they're fluid. Versus, back a couple years ago, we had almost all backstage segments were like the TV and the guy type segment.
Yeah, that was
Like
kind of
very very
repetitive.
stationary. Whereas this, they do a lot of movement, fluid movement, where
Yeah,
they did that in the Attitude Era a lot.
and I personally, I like the, like you said, the video packs. I like how they're doing like more cinematic, like video production. I don't know if you saw the Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns, like of them talking. That was kind of like a movie how they did it with like
Oh yeah,
the music playing in the background.
Yeah,
Like it was like a work of art. That was
yeah, that was
honestly one of the best put together video packages I've ever seen.
Yeah, that was super cool. And on that same note, even just the promo videos leading into Bad Blood, where Triple H is telling Cody to get Metro for the stakeout, and he's like
yeah,
Metro booming, and he's like,
Oh
"What
yeah,
other Metro you know?" And he's like, "Oh," because he starts echoing in the
yeah,
garage and things like that. Iceberg, what you think? You got anything as far
yeah.
as little matchmaking qualities or production qualities?
Yeah. I mean, besides cosmetically, like how you guys all pointed out, I mean, the camera work has been really nice.
it's
I feel like,
always been good though. The camera work.
yeah,
No,
WWF,
I think I know what you're saying, because a lot of the angles of like hiding moves and botches and cuts
Oh yeah,
that
yeah.
is that what you're getting
yeah,
at, Kelly?
yeah. Just don't get me wrong. WWF has always they've been the best in the biz, catching all the right stuff and avoiding all the wrong stuff. But I was just
It's
alluding to your
gotten
Yeah, listen, I feel like it's bigger. That's what I like about it. I feel like the storylines, they're making Monday nights, they're making SmackDowns just mean so much more. and kudos to them because it's a 52-week show, right? I mean, for both,
Right.
for both. I mean, that's freaking crazy to sit there and come up with, to make it so meaningful and not just have a filler. And I
Right.
feel like there's less fillers in the show personally. Um, also, they've been having big fights.
Yeah.
Like I said, I think last Monday night after the one Bad Blood, they had they had like two or three championship, the belts were on the line. So,
Yeah.
yeah, so those are things I'm loving. It feels bigger to me, and it
Yeah.
reminds me of the Attitude Era where it was actually cool to like wrestling, and not so it being a cult
Not
thing,
so closeted, like
Yeah,
like
Yeah.
like someone's like, oh, you like that fake stuff or like something like that. Like,
And
yeah,
based off what you were saying, Kelly, it reminded me. Perfect example is that whole Braun Strowman and Bronson Reed thing. That was
yeah,
almost all segments and brawls,
yeah,
and
yeah,
just perfect camera work and following them and through the wall and shit and I think that has been a really fresh, refreshing, just like yeah, like I feel like I'll go into a weekly show like you said earlier. Usually there's no expectation of a weekly show, but I feel like lately we've been able to go into them like you said with the title matches or these angles where they just um they just bring like a oh shit, I
yeah,
did not expect that,
and
that
yeah,
was nice.
and don't be surprised when they go on Netflix that you're gonna see more of a actual TV show, where there's going to be a lot more things filmed, and
Hmm.
you're going to have segments like the Roman Reigns and Cody, but you're gonna, they're gonna try to, explore that more. It's going to be more movie esque. Wrestling is going to change when it gets to Netflix in a lot of ways
yeah,
that people are not ready. Some people might not even like it. You know what I mean? But I think most will, and I think we're in that era where WWE is going to start making more groundbreaking history here and kind of pivot, and we're going to really see what the Triple H era really is. Right now, we're
Right.
living Vince McMahon's dream. Okay,
Well, and
even though Triple H is doing his thing and Vince has nothing to do with it. This right here, what we're watching, is exactly what or what Vince McMahon wanted his wrestling to be. So right now, Triple H is kind of still stuck in that realm. I think when they go to Netflix, it's going to look different. It's
well,
going to look different.
you've seen a lot of they've been testing the waters and they've been doing these changes and they've been doing so we got more title matches, we got new angles. But he's like you said, he's bringing it back to the best of, but those are still things that Vince used to do now. But
Right,
but he's a
right,
student of the game, and those are
right,
good aspects of what Vince did. But like you
right.
said, there's some things that Triple H is going to put his stamp on as far as the new generation that he's promised, and we've seen that with like the cinematic thing with Roman and Cody and stuff. We've seen, and you've noticed he's quite literally putting his stamp on it. These episodes, they at the end say executive produced Lee, Paul Levesque and Lee Fitting. So they're putting their stamp. This ain't Vince's shit no more. This is
Yeah,
my
no
shit.
doubt. No
You
doubt.
know,
No doubt. And so
yeah.
like, oh no, go ahead, Jeff.
and
Go ahead.
most importantly, because
Uh,
they I'm sorry, but most importantly, because I got
no,
the
you're good.
same thought, is I feel like them doing that is not just so much as saying this is my shit, but I feel like they're confident that these episodes are going to be more of the viewed episodes in future's time. They're going to be pulled back on. And when they have people coming back 6 years later and watching the show, they want people to know this wasn't the Vince era. You're watching the Triple H era. This is
Yeah,
when this is the Triple H era that you're watching now. You might not know because you're watching past episodes, but I want you to understand that this is different and this era started here. Oh, you like that better than that? That's why. You know. Go ahead.
Yeah, me personally though, like like the cinema esque like production, I think it's great because like I think it's definitely gonna be able to, people are gonna see that and be like, that's badass, and it's gonna, draw more people to being like fans of pro wrestling, and it's not gonna be like, just like two people fighting. It's gonna be like that story, that cinema, that's gonna draw more people to it, and that's only gonna help WWE even more to reach like a wider audience, especially it being on a platform like Netflix, which everyone and their mama has a Netflix or they have someone else's Netflix account, and they're gonna see that. You know what? I'll check out WWE. Haven't watched it in years, but we'll see. What changes, or like I've never watched wrestling before. Let's give it a try. And they see like like stuff like the Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes like type of segment, and they'll be like, that is dope as fuck, and that'll get more people's attention, and it'll get like a even bigger audience than what WWE is.
Yeah, and I think that that's the biggest thing about putting it on Netflix and being able to do this new cinema is you're pulling from Netflix's subscriber fan base, right? So a lot of these people have never watched wrestling, but all they do is watch Netflix. So if they see it on their page and they see these cinematic, trailers and these segments and these hype packages that they're building, and people are gonna be like, "Damn, that look cool as fuck, dog." And they might jump up in there and watch that shit, and they might get hooked. You know?
Yeah, they probably thought before like wrestling is so lame, but then they see cool shit like that. That's gonna be like, you know what? Maybe I was wrong about this. Like maybe it is cool. Like it's important to like make sure it's already becoming more popular now than it was like 5 years ago. Uh, with like a lot of the storylines and stuff, it's only gonna, in my opinion, improve from there and draw more people in.
Especially the women. The women's, man, you start throwing some of that drama in there, like Living Dom on a hype package, and they're like, "Ooh, what's this gossip shit?"
I mean, shit on Netflix. I mean, we
Yeah,
we did a podcast earlier where we talked about it. Does there need to
Euphoria.
be, does there need to be sex in cinema? And I just feel like it's Netflix, man. You never know what you're going to see here. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
you know.
You could go topless, man. I mean, it's going to be a different. It's going to be a different audience, is all I'm saying. And,
It's
and
true. I don't know if the
I don't think they're gonna do that
no,
because
no,
there's
listen though. But
too
listen,
many
what do you think
kids.
wrestlers are though? Wrestlers are actors. They're not fighters,
That's
right?
true.
right.
This is what we know. They're not fighters. They're actors. So
They're
if somebody's
choreographed actors, is what they
they're
are. Like
stuntmen. They're stuntmen.
stuntmen who
They can
act
act.
more than they well,
Right.
about the same. They perform and then they act at the same time, like with the
So
promos and the in ring work.
So they're actors.
so yeah. So yeah, if so facto they're actors. So so look at though. My point is and hey, look at it's not some of these people will want to pursue an acting career. It's not like we haven't seen this before, right? I mean, Jesus Christ, like you're gonna have uh The Rock, you got Batista, you got John Cena,
you
right?
know, it
So
is quite possible. Now that I'm thinking about what you're saying, it is quite possible that we do see a more entrenched backstage IRL esque drama, take where they move beyond the curtain. And even if it's staged and fake and part of the
yes,
script, we
More
might see more in restaurant or at home segment
the storylines,
that stems into the ring eventually, but still
yes,
they
more
might not just be at,
pre-recorded
yeah,
events too,
yes.
less at
instead of
venue
just
type of
like the typical backstage interview.
There you
right.
go.
That's cool,
We've
but
seen
like
it.
it's kind of overdone.
Yeah, exactly. And this creates originality, right? And then we've seen some of that with both the LA Knight in Logan Paul's house and at AJ Styles' house, right?
Yes, yes.
So
And the Stone Cold Brian Pillman back in the day with the
yeah,
gun.
Yeah, Pillman's
And
got a
hours.
gun. Pillman's got a
yeah,
gun.
yeah.
Yeah,
Booker
I could
T
definitely see stuff
in
like
the
that
yeah.
going down that road. You know what I mean? And
Yeah, and I don't
yeah,
know. I don't think they'll necessarily go topless, but we could definitely end up with more intimacy
right,
for sure.
right.
For sure, there could be more acting credibility in
More acting.
in some of this.
Hey,
Um,
Something
living
like
down.
the Edge and Lita sex
you know what I'm
celebration.
saying? I was
Hey, yeah,
thinking of that.
even just living Dom jumping out of bed, like the camera, like they're waking up together, like more cinematic, like
Yeah,
more
yeah,
something of them,
Yeah, like something you'd
more,
see in like a movie. Like
more
yeah,
character building, right? More character
yeah,
building, get you to
yeah.
invest in that character more, right? I
Yeah.
mean, dude, I mean, trust me, they're gonna go crazy. I have a feeling that they're gonna go crazy with it. It's gonna be really cool, man. I think it's gonna be great. I think it's gonna be great.
I think so too. Because yeah, they'll be on less time constraint, live TV type thing. They'll be able to really put more into that
my thing
show.
is, are they going
I,
to keep the 3 hour runtime? Or are they going to cut it down? Or what are they going to do with that?
well,
That and
in my opinion, if they're gonna do all that, you gotta have a longer runtime because that takes a lot away from the wrestling. So you still got to be able to have at least an hour of wrestling in there.
Not well, yeah, not necessarily. I think they keep the same. I think they keep the same. Because here's the thing, too, right? WWE makes all their money, or not all their money, right? Obviously, but
a
man,
lot.
half their money comes from live events, selling out arenas, right? So you're gonna still have these matches, but instead of the audience seeing all that backstage stuff, maybe they'll watch it on the big screen
Right,
of
which is how they typically do watch it. They'll play it on the screen and you'll get that
yeah.
crowd reaction.
So
So
you're
you're
gonna
right.
yeah
Maybe they won't try and do too much because you don't want to affect that crowd.
yeah.
Uh, you know,
Yeah, and the crowd will understand,
they're still in
fucking
the
it's
stadium for
Netflix.
a certain amount of hours. You're
Yeah,
still trying to pace these segments on the jumbotron the same way you're trying to pace the viewer to get them to react and change their levels of emotion throughout the show. So it'd be interesting to see how they make it work for
yeah,
sure.
it is going to be interesting. Yeah.
Now, um, what else that I find interesting is Toni Storm. Okay. Toni Storm got named from PWI the number one women's wrestler of the year. Now, Toni Storm got released by WWE, never really got a strong shot. Um, Went to AEW, made probably the best gimmick in AEW, definitely top three, and has been just tearing it up with a very attitude area ass gimmick. Um, JT, you've been following that. What do you think about all of that? Do you think the hype is real with her? And do you think that there is a possibility where this isn't just a one off where if the wrestler wants it, they could find better success in AEW. What do you think about that?
Me personally, I do really love Tony Storm's gimmick. It's very, unique and different. But me personally, I don't think I would have put her, in the number one spot. I would have put I would have put I would have definitely put like Rhea ahead of her. I don't think she was worth the top 10 for sure. Even kayfabe wise, no one really thinks of her as like the top wrestler right now. Like gimmick wise, top two, top three right now. I'd say in general, not just women, but in general. But I don't think I would put her in the number one spot.
So I think, and that's a fair assessment. And I'm not sure I would either. But I think the argument for her versus, like you said, Rhea. Obviously, she's a bigger star. She's had a bigger year ish, kind of. Maybe last year was bigger, in my opinion. But I think the argument for Toni Storm is that she kind of just like created a very fresh original package and gimmick and ran with it and just had some of the better storylines of AEW. And maybe they're giving her a better spot because it's such a shock to see that in AEW right now. But I feel like personally with Rhea, I mean, she's over like Grover, right? But like,
Mm-hmm.
there's nothing about her gimmick that's
And
like, oh
AEW
my god,
really
I've
needs
never
something like that right now.
right. But like, I feel like there's nothing about Rhea right now that's like, oh my god, I would have never thought of that. I never seen that. Oh, that's such a cool creation of a gimmick. And
Right.
then applying said gimmick to your storylines in the matches. Rhea's just a badass bitch, you know? Like there's nothing
Which
more
we've
to it than that.
seen that several times with wrestlers, like just like that badass character, and that's kind of what she is with Tony though. Like she's gives you that nice little throwback gimmick, and she is
Hmm.
very very entertaining. And she's AEW has always been putting on the greatest shows, but I'll say she, as of lately, since she started this gimmick, has been one of the bright sides of AEW.
And I just feel like she's so good at like with this gimmick. Like she brings it out. Like she brings her character to life. You know, Rhea is her character, but that's not Tony Storm, her character. You feel me? And so you know she's out there doing like, oh my, she's acting right as we're talking about. That's why you know where I segue to. She's doing this character in overabundance, just overselling this character's persona and like you know she's doing all the and whereas Rhea's just Rhea. You know, no doubt Rhea's more over, but has Rhea been able to deliver a more revolutionizing package this year in particular compared to what Tony Storm has done this year in particular?
Yeah, so don't get me wrong. I'll probably be to make this short and sweet because I'm not super familiar with Tony Storm in AEW because I'm not really watching AEW that much. I do hear stuff here and there, but from what you guys are saying, she's got a great gimmick and she performs it very well. To me, when I think of like somebody who's on top, if I had to sit here and give somebody an award, it would be two things. It would be in-ring performance, and then it would be who sells the most merch,
So
and that's your greatest.
so
So
in ring performance, Tony Storm definitely is checking that box. She's had a lot of like top storylines, a lot of top reactions to the booking online. Um, hold on. She's had a lot of you know the top matches of the year. She's carried the belt a lot. As for her merch,
well,
AEW top merch sellers
I know
2024.
AEW is probably way less than WWE, but
Uh,
just in general.
we'll compare it to other you know AEW merch people. Um, so I can't really see. Let's see. AEW top selling merch January 2024. Okay, so and this was January 2024. Which is a long time ago, and Tony Storm didn't really develop. But
Yeah,
I'm really seeing a lot of guys here.
yeah, but
Look, Danhausen's not even with them anymore. Let's see.
try to do something more recent for this year. I know she's not beating Rhea, and I
May
know
2024.
she's not even beating fucking Liv or
Okay,
even.
so here, top selling AEW merchandise for May 2024. Top superstars in AEW. Got AEW and Ring of Honor brands: Will Ospreay, Swerve Strickland, Adam Copeland, which is Edge, Kenny Omega, Young Bucks, Mercedes Moné, Tony Storm, and Jack Perry. Those are the top sellers. So she's in the top sellers for sure. And other than you know the I mean Jack Perry's he's embroiled in the controversy with CM Punk. Sasha Banks is Mercedes Moné. That was a huge signing. Even though in my opinion, she's done terrible compared to Toni Storm. And of course, the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega are, they're AEW's founders.
Yeah.
Will Ospreay is Will Ospreay. Will Ospreay and Kenny Omega. I mean, if you're an AEW fan, you suck their dicks. I'm just saying, like,
No, yeah, those guys are always. Them are the people I know about. I watch.
And Swerve
Yeah.
Strickland, he's their champion all year. And Adam Copeland, it's Edge. I mean, like,
Yeah.
there's not
Yeah.
a bigger star, and he's been doing great over there this year.
Yeah.
So I mean, maybe not one in all of the industry. I don't know. I just feel like name one other woman who's done something so original and totally on her own accords and it's been so successful as Toni Storm. And personally, I just can't find an answer to that.
Like, what do you mean here? Like, what do you like? You're saying like in
Name
history?
one female, like, no, this year. Name one female
Oh,
wrestler that's done something unique and different compared to even before January, who's done something unique and different this year that's been more successful than what Toni Storm has done this year.
yeah, no. I mean, to me, nobody. Just based off what you guys are saying, and probably, I would say like, you know, I think that the women's division is strong as it is in WWE. You know, it's
It makes
subpar,
a
right?
good point, right?
It's
She
subpar.
could definitely.
You
It's
know,
subpar.
it's subpar. It's not. I mean, right now it's got a
It's
lot of hype. At one time, it was the best. It was probably better
yeah.
than the men's, and now I think they're kind of living off that. I haven't seen a
They
huge.
need to find
Money in the Bank was good.
yeah, they need to find a good way to. They got the talent, right? They got
They
the
got the
talent.
talent. Yeah,
They what they need to do is find a way to work more successful female storylines and develop these up and
Not
coming
just
talents. You know,
storylines, but gimmicks. Like I'm not saying copy what Tony Storm's doing, but create
but
like a unique, out of the box type of gimmick. Because
right.
as far
A
I
lot of
can't
these
think of
girls,
any women wrestlers in WWE right now that have that hasn't been done or hasn't been done in a while type of gimmick.
right? There's
The
no
thing is, like,
superstars,
they're running
I gotta check.
off of their feuds. Like, if they're not having good feuds, then they're gonna get stale really quick.
yeah.
Like Tony
Iceberg,
Storm, like, as far as I know, I can't think of any good feuds that she's having, but she has a really good gimmick and she's entertaining and she's bringing in viewers
yeah.
from that.
Oh, I gotta check her out because you guys keep comparing her to Stone Cold, the gimmick. I mean, I
uh,
get what you're saying, the originality of it, or just like but yeah, I gotta
like,
go check her out now.
look, the thing is with as much talent as there is in that women's division right now, in particular, especially in the past year, they just haven't been able to take all that talent and turn them into superstars. We've been stuck on a couple storylines, and all these people are just kind of simmering. Uh, and that's not to say that oh, that was a mistake. Okay, their storylines they got going are golden right now, and you don't want to just push people to push people when you can just let them simmer, and then when your shit dies, push a couple more and stay on top, right? Um, I'm not judging the WWE for that, but the fact is that we're riding two storylines right now for the women's, and a lot of these up and comers are not being pushed to the top and not being made superstars with compelling stories or compelling gimmicks. And right now, Toni Storm is delivering the most compelling, original gimmick, story, match, whatever of the year, in my opinion. Speaking of most compelling of the year, heel of the year. Okay, I don't know who the fuck they named it. I don't care. I'm talking, who is the heel of the year? Is it Gunther or is it Christian Cage? Now, Gunther's been delivering some fire, some funny lines, making a lot of enemies. He's been doing a lot of successful stuff in the ring. But in my opinion, Christian Cage over there, even though he's only got the mid card title, bro, this guy has been putting on probably the best thing coming out of AEW for the past 2 years. He has been so diabolically savage with his storylines and his promos, and the shit he says to these wrestlers is just dastardly, straight up dastardly. Uh, and he's a real life villain at this point with the Britt Baker scandal. So what do you?
Wait,
what do
what's
you
the
think?
Britt Baker scandal?
Well, supposedly the reason Adam Cole and Britt Baker broke up and Adam Cole is leaving AEW is because Christian Cage was pounding Britt Baker.
No, I don't
That's what they're
believe that. No
saying.
way.
Bro, it's a lot of people
But
are
Adam
saying
Cole
it.
just returned though.
Well, yeah, because he's under contract, but they're saying that Britt Baker and Adam Cole haven't been seen together in months, and he even moved out.
Oh shit, it's not a work.
I mean, I know they. I
I
heard
don't
they
think it's a
broke up,
work.
but I didn't hear anything about
Oh yeah, I've heard a
the
lot about
Christian.
them saying they Christian and her hooked up, dog. A lot. Now, of course, unless they say it themselves, but
He
I
pulled an
mean,
edge move, huh?
I
And
mean,
that's fucked up, but
He, pu-
that's
he,
hilarious.
he pulled an edge move.
he pulled an ass move. Uh,
Don't leave your chick around that guy, huh?
yeah, for real. Well, his whole gimmick right now is that he don't get in the ring with him. Don't get on the bad side because if you go after his belt, he's stealing your mom.
Oh,
You
I'm
know?
beating his ass, man.
No,
That's a
seriously,
good. That's a
he
good
spent a
gimmick.
whole
And with him, you better
year where
hope
he
your
was
father's alive because he'll say something
what was it? Nick
because he
Wayne's
don't
mom.
care.
He was pounding.
Wow. Now I gotta check this out. This is all in AEW, huh?
Yeah, he's tearing it up over
Yeah, in
there.
my opinion, this is by far. I don't know if by far, but this is definitely one of Christian's best works. Even his TNA run was good, but this
Yeah,
is, in my opinion, especially at his age right now, this is
yeah,
his his best by far when it comes to a single run.
Yeah,
yeah,
Christian Cage is in his golden era right now, bro.
yeah.
He is
I heard
hitting,
he's
he's
snapping.
firing on all cylinders. He's feeling himself out there. Yeah.
No, that's
Yeah.
cool, man. You know, going. If I would have thought back in the day that Edge and Christian, I know Edge, but Christian though would be a top guy anywhere, I'd have been like, nah, you know.
Yeah, he's a
Uh,
fucking savage running
but
around with his turtleneck and just like I
yeah,
mean, dude, oh man. I love Christian as a heel, just talking down to people. Like he's kind of like got that like Smithers type. He just like hit you with a glove and shit, like fucking psh, shut up, peasant,
yeah,
sit your ass down. He runs,
yeah.
he's really good. I'm really fucking with him. Honestly, between him and Tony Storm, that's really the interest that I have in AEW right now. That's really the only shit I really follow too deeply. I mean, I know Swerve's tearing it up, but I haven't really cared enough to follow it because I don't watch it right now. I haven't watched it in a couple of years, but I do follow storylines that I think that I hear, I see are hitting. So I'll go
Yeah,
watch just those.
Swerve is definitely one of the bright sides of AEW too.
Yeah, but
WWE really dropped the ball with him.
and that's another thing is I brought up. Okay, so you got Tony Storm, you got Swerve, and they're the best aspects of AEW. And we talk a lot about like, oh, stars don't go nowhere. Okay, let's look at Miro, right? Let's look
But
at that. But we have a couple good examples where they actually are turning that company around.
yeah, slowly but surely, they're slowly getting me back into, paying more attention to AEW as well. Like some of the storylines, especially with the John Moxley, like kind of
Yeah.
taking over, like
I was
that's
gonna
been
say,
like
didn't he
some
just retire?
badass shit.
Didn't he just retire? What's his name?
Danielson,
Danielson.
Brian
Yeah,
Danielson.
Yeah, Yeah.
Yeah.
And the Blackpool Combat Club storyline has always been good. Them guys have been good, you know. Um,
I think they need to change the name though because it only made sense when they had William Regal in there.
right,
Now
right,
he's
right.
out. They need to, change it up.
Yeah, well, they're called a conglomerate or something right now, right? Or some shit.
I'm gonna
I
tell
don't
you.
know.
I'm gonna tell you my heel of the year. It's the final boss.
The final boss. Guy makes one appearance and steals the whole year.
Yep, that's all he needs, man.
All he did was stand there.
That's all you had to do. One of these and shit.
Yeah.
Enough said. We
Who
didn't
else
even know.
can do that?
Yeah, we didn't even know what the fuck that meant. That could have meant 30 different things.
And it was like, oh.
Yeah, they're like, oh shit, all three of y'all are fucked up. Wait, there's five of y'all.
I don't know if you remember this, but with that, I'm curious what the Rock gave Cody Rhodes. Like the night after WrestleMania. Like I still,
Right.
sometimes think about that. Like if they're ever gonna bring that into like the
So
storyline. Like
I heard it was doing something. It was some sort of watch or something that they gave him, and he's like, "Here, I'm coming back for that." Meaning, like, hold on to that because I'm gonna whoop your ass and take it back, type shit.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
My thing is why he's the heel of the year is because he reminds me of the new Vince McMahon in terms of him being the boss. He owns TKO or he's the top shareholder, and to me, that's what makes him like the ultimate heel, right? Is because it's like, damn, this guy could fuck around and change the rules on you, and he could maybe even throw a suspension around. You know what I'm saying? Like he could just, he's got a lot in his arsenal. It's like fighting fucking Thanos with all the fucking, gauntlet on him.
yeah. Okay, so that was us running the ropes. That was pretty good, guys. And if you enjoyed that, stick around. Because we're getting into the mid card now. Okay, now the mid card, there's gonna be a little more veering off topics, if you know what I mean. A couple topics into one, relative pieces, and you'll know what I mean. So first one is Braun Breaker and Jey Uso. Okay, what are they gonna do here with Jey Uso and Braun Breaker? Obviously, they got a feud.